Hey everyone, this is Dazzy. I go by CB-Lainey slash Schooled on Tumblr. And on Twitter, I'm at Dazzled by Jake. And on AO3, I am beautiful and broken. And I just wanted to kind of introduce myself and just say hi. And big shout out to CB likes Lainey and Lainey likes CB and a little quiet Canadian. And I'm sure there's others that I've just completely blanked on right now, but I just wanted to introduce myself and say hi and um, kind of let you know how I got into the whole ship of CB and Lainey being together on Schooled. Um, I watched the Goldbergs with my husband for many years, and we loved all the 80s nostalgia because we both grew up in the 80s and we loved all the nostalgia and just remembering growing up and seeing the movies that Adam would see and the music and everything was just so exciting watching it every week. Well, um, we saw the advertisements for Schooled and we were excited because it was a 90s show and we both went to middle school and high school during the 90s and a little bit of college during the 90s, so we were really excited about seeing a show about the 90s. So, and plus being that it was from it was a spinoff from the Goldbergs, it made us really happy and we were excited to watch it. Well, we started watching it, and I will admit I didn't really like it at first. I kind of thought, didn't really like it. And usually, when I watch a TV show, I like to have a boy and a girl that I like to root for, and there really wasn't that on the show until about, I would say it was probably the episode Glascott Mascot, which I think is the 11th episode of the first season, when CB and Lainey were rumored, the kids were all rumoring, gossiping that they were a thing. And they even said it on the radio station. And they were like, oh my gosh, we got to shut these guys down, because they're spreading rumors about us. But then at the end, they said, oh, they don't want to have anything to do with that. And they're both like, yeah, we don't want to, we don't have anything to do with romantic stuff right now. And then you see CB walk off, and Lainey remembers Barry and all the fun times they had at William Penn. And then she kind of like smiles and walks off, and you see CB behind her. And after that moment, I was sold on this ship. I mean, I absolutely loved it. And I'll still remember my husband and I, when we were watching it, he goes, when he saw CB watching her, he goes, mm-hmm. And I was like, yes, this is awesome. And I just felt like this whole, you know, I was sold after that. So then the next episode, waited till the next episode came on. And then, Susan Cinnamon was like, it's happening. And I'm just like, yes, this is what I want. I want it to happen. And I knew they wouldn't actually go there. And it kind of upset me. And I knew something was going to happen. And, he kept trying to get her to go out with him for coffee. And then at the very end, he asks her out again, and she says, it's too late at night, and, why don't we just go drink? And he's like, oh, yeah, he's really disappointed. And then all of a sudden he's like, yes, yes, that's even better. Let's go out for a drink. So they started to walk off, and daggone it, if Barry didn't show up, it made me so angry. Oh, you don't know how angry I went. And, I kind of felt like Susan Cinnamon. I went, drama. It's like, yes. It's like drama. Yeah, let's add some drama here. And then the next episode, and I kind of thought, well, before the next episode, I wrote fanfic, and I've been writing fanfic for years. And I said, I said it would be so cool and I was angry that Barry showed up. So I said, I'm just going to go home. I'm just going to come home tomorrow, and I'm going to write smut between CB and Lainey. I said, I want them to be together. So I'm just going to write the smut and get it over with. And so I wrote it, and I loved it. And I shared it with one of my friends who had written, who has been a friend of mine for about 11 years online. We'd never met, but we've talked a lot online. And we actually wrote Twilight fanfic like way back in the day, like 11 years ago. And we became really good friends. And then we reconnected in the Raylo fandom. And if you don't know what the Raylo fandom is, that's Kylo Ren and Rey from Star Wars, which is a huge, huge ship, and kind of felt like a little fish in a huge pond or an ocean actually in that fandom because it's just so popular and there's so many fics and you just can't keep up. I mean, it's just crazy. But we had reconnected in the Raylo fandom, and I asked her, I said, will you please read this? I know you don't know the show. I know you have no idea what Schooled is, but she read it. And when she commented on it and she said, I think it's great. I think you did a good job on it. She says, I don't know the ship or anything, but I really think you did a good job. So the next episode, the next week, I waited with bated breath. I mean, I was like, come on, she's going to reject Barry. She's going to go with CB, and that's how they're going to end the episode, the season for this, and make you want them to get together in the next season. Well, that didn't happen. And, I love CB. I think CB is an amazing character, and he is so well developed, and the way they write him on the show, you just love him. You just fall in love with him. You want to marry him. You just want to fall down at your feet and say, and you want Lainey, you just want to smack Lainey sometime and say, can you not see how amazing this person is? And and it took her almost a whole nother season to realize it. But I waited with bated breath for that episode, and I was so sure that she was going to break up with Barry, and it kind of pointed in that direction at the beginning of the episode. And then CB said he was going to sabotage Barry, and then he did, and then he felt terrible about it, and he saw how much Lainey loved Barry, and he's like, I got to get them back together. This was a terrible thing I did. And then at the end, they decide to make their long distance relationship work, and CB just kind of walks off, and you never really get that fulfillment from his point of view. He's happy that she's happy, but you don't really get that fulfillment there. And it broke my heart. And then I had to wait, a whole, months before they premiered the next season. And I thought maybe they were going to, do something, to make us want them together. But the first couple episodes were kind of not focusing on that. It was focusing, on the new teacher with Wilma coming in, which I love Wilma. Wilma's like, reminds me so much of myself. And I think, especially her being a science teacher, and I am too. And that was, one way I connected with the character. But the Kick Like a Girl episode, which I think was number 4, was the 4th episode of the season. I love that episode. I watch that episode all the time just because I love, that she puts her head on his shoulder when they're riding in the bus, and he talks about, you don't want to wake up Sleeping Beauty here. He says, she is a beauty, but she's got a boyfriend, I just love that episode. And I love the whole part between him and Coop and CB and Coop when he's saying, I'm going to go down to the lounge and I'm just going to have a nice conversation, but yet he's spraying cologne on. He's been breath spray and he's combing his hair. That is my favorite scene probably in the whole series, just because it's just so funny. And I just love CB's character so much. I just love it. And, but that's kind of how I got into the whole, so I know I kind of went on a tangent there, but that's how I kind of got into the whole CB and Lainey fandom was, watching that episode, the Glasscott mascot episode where the kids were gossiping about them on the radio. And then that's when I really got into their ship. And before that, I really didn't care about the Schooled. It was just some casual show I watched. But then once that happened, I was sold, and I was gung ho for it after that. And I just started with my fan fiction. I just started writing, little smutty scenes that could have been inserted into any episode. And a few of them were just in CB's mind, and the others were actual encounters that they actually had. And in some of the episodes, they would look at each other a certain way, and I'm like, it would fit so perfectly in there. And some of the things they said, was so easy just to turn it into some kind of a smut story. So that's basically how I got into CB and Lainey. And I really, really, really like this ship. And I don't think I've ever fallen so hard for a ship before. And I've shipped Captain Swan from Once Upon a Time. I've shipped Raylo from Star Wars, and let's see, um, what are some other Claire and Jamie from Outlander. But all of them kind of got together, and except for Raylo, which kind of ended. I hated the Rise of Skywalker. Just gonna say that right now, put that out there. But most of them ended up together, and I have this like thing in the back of my brain that's like, what if CB and Lainey don't get together, and it's just a whole, it was just a one time thing where he had a thing for her, and then it just goes away, and her and Barry get married, and it breaks my heart to think that, but part of me thinks that might happen, but then I don't want it to happen, but I really wish, I really hope that they get them together. If it's not this season, I hope they at least tease it toward the end, like maybe her and Barry break up, and he's there waiting for her to comfort her, something. I want something to happen this season that points it in that direction. And they don't have to get together this season to make me happy. I want something, to happen. And I hope they have a third season, because it would really, really suck if they had a moment at the end of the season and then they canceled the show and they didn't come back. That would really, really suck. But I think the ratings are pretty strong, and I think they got a full season this year. So I think they'll probably get a full season again next year, which I'm really hopeful that they will. But anyway, that's just a little taste of, how I got into the CB and Lainey fandom. And it really is probably the strongest ship I've never written so much for a ship before, fan fiction wise. There's just so many ideas that, like I said, on Tumblr, little plot bunnies just keep hopping around and wanting to do so many things. And I've read so many amazing things that you guys have written that just make me so happy I'm in this fandom. And we are just our own little corner here of just a few people. But I really think if they do get together on the show, that I think the fandom will explode. I think there'll be a lot more people coming into it and wanting to talk with us. And, I'm kind of enjoying our little bubble right now, but I think it will get popular as soon as they get together, if they do get together, which I hope they do. So, but anyway, and then I'm Dazzy. Uh, it's nice to talk to you guys and just share some stuff about me. And I hope to come back on next time I do one of these. I want to do like a review of Moving On, just of how the episode affected me and what I thought about the episode. So if you have any questions that you want me to answer, I'll be happy to do that. And just a big shout out to all my peeps on Tumblr. I know I sound kind of stupid. But just hello. And I've enjoyed being friends with you and having fun times on Tumblr and voicing our frustrations and our love of CB and Lainey. But for now, I'll